All right, thank you for meeting with me today, Jim.
Not a problem. Good to have you here.
All right, let's start with a pretty basic question.
Okay.
What's your favorite part of this job?
I like being in the middle of what everybody's talking about.
What time does your day start and end?
I come to work, I'm usually at work most days by 2:30, but I actually start working from the moment I get up. I get the Orlando Sentinel delivered to my house. I have several websites bookmarked. Google News is one, NewYorkTimes.com, ESPN.com. I check emails from home that are work-related. I usually have on in my house CNN or headline news. I actually like headline news in the morning, and Central Florida News 13 because they're always on, and you get weather on the ones.
Very nice.
Yeah.
What time does your working day end?
Usually around midnight, sometimes a little later, depends on how many emails I have that are specifically talking about a newscast. I try to answer those that day.
What goes on during the commercial breaks here?
We have these computers in our desks, and you can see, and I have I have a rundown pulled up here. In the afternoons, it's always working ahead because you have 2.5 hours of news that you have to stay on top of, and while there is a little bit of repetition, most of what we're going to look at is new. And when we come out to the set at 3:45 in the afternoon for the 4 o'clock newscast, much of the 6 o'clock newscast hasn't even been written. It's been pretty much formulated. And so I know what the stories are, and I know basically what's happened with the stories, but the specific wording and whether or not it makes sense, it's one thing to write a script or a piece of copy for a newspaper, but it's a completely different thing to write it for television, because you got one chance with people at home, so you have to be very clear. And sometimes the scripts are not all that clear, so we are constantly working ahead throughout the afternoon. And usually once we get right up into about 6 o'clock is when I feel pretty comfortable that I've seen everything.
So my dad works in the motion picture industry and is a wardrobe man. Do you have a wardrobe man or a makeup crew?
No.
No? You do it all yourself?
Yes.
Do you have a budget for clothes?
Used to. Not so much anymore.
So this is all yours that you bought?
Right. Now we do have consultants in this business that work with us on our look to some degree. I don't know that I would have picked out this specific white shirt, but I had a lady early on in my career say, well, you have kind of a narrow face and you have these certain features, so you should try to dress this sort of way. And everybody's different, so everybody should look different.
What do you plan on doing after you do the news? Or like after you retire your news anchor career?
Yes, I will probably die.
You want to do this for the rest of your life?
Pretty much it. Yep, I love it.
And I've also noticed when you're on air, you have an earpiece. Does your director talk to you?
Yes, and a producer, and sometimes a manager, executive producer, news director, anybody in the control room can get on the intercom system and speak into our ear.
Is it ever distracting when you're reading a story?
Not so much anymore. Early in the career, yeah, because you would listen intently if somebody was, because it sounds like a voice inside your head, because it seals off your whole ear. So it really does feel like, you have voices. But usually if somebody's speaking to you, they'll pick an appropriate spot, like when my co-anchor is reading a story, then they'll talk to you. But during breaking news and when scripts are out the window, people are talking to you all the time.
Do you have sick days or choose when you go on? Do you have to give advance notices if you need the day off or a couple days off?
We're not really allowed to be sick. We have to be practically dead before we can call in sick. I get 4 weeks of vacation a year, and we do have company holidays, and I can't remember the last time that I've used every one of them.
Now, do you ever hear from Wendy? Is she coming back?
She's not coming back.
No, she's staying.
Yeah. I hear from her all the time.
What was it like interviewing Conan?
He was great. We had heard ahead of time that he was up to anything. And so I had planned all these different things, and it was just a question of, well, was I going to have enough time to do all the things that I wanted to do with him? But he's just he's a big, tall, goofy guy who just happens to be very smart and has his own TV show. But he answered every question. He had a lot of fun while he was here. He referred to himself as mine and Martha's love child during promotional taping, so I don't know if we're going to put that on TV. And of course, he makes fun of his hair. You know, the self-effacing, make fun of yourself humor is always the best, and he is just a master at that. So, and it was a lot of fun just having him around. He and his people, they were all just really good folks.